So let's talk about managing software packages. Now, based on your distribution, you're going to have a couple of different types of packages. So we're using Ubuntu, which is based on Debian. So we're using DEB packages, and we'll typically manage them using a tool called apt. Now, if you're running a Red Hat based system, Red Hat CentOS, something like that, you're probably going to be using RPM. And then there are also some new approaches to package management using tools like Snap and Flatpak. We're going to talk about that in another video. So we're going to start by looking at managing packages using apt. Now, before we get into this, a couple of things we've got to know is that software for Linux is typically kept in the form of packages and they're stored in repositories. Now, because we're using a Debian-based system, apt is a tool we're going to use, so we're using Debian-based repositories. Typically, your default repositories for Ubuntu are going to be the official Ubuntu repository. And think of it like kind of like an app store sitting out somewhere, except instead of using, a tool like the Play Store on Google or the Apple Store on an iPhone, you're using apt to access this repository, this site that holds all of this software. Now, these repositories update on a fairly regular basis. So the first thing we need to do is do an apt update, which is going to get the latest information from our repositories. So the command, let me get over to this right screen. I'm going to switch user here real quick, so I don't have to type sudo on everything. So my command is going to be apt update. And what that does is that goes out and hits all of my repositories and then updates my cache. And you're going to see here all of these gets as we're updating our different repositories. Building package lists. Okay, here we go. Now, every time we do this, it grabs the most recent information from those repositories and stores it here. By the way, one other thing I forgot to mention is in some documentation, you'll see this done using a command called apt-get, and there's going to be a companion apt cache. You can actually just use apt for all of this stuff now. And one thing I want to point out here is 49 packages need to be upgraded. Well, I can do that. I'm not going to do that right now. We're going to do that a little bit later on. But the command, just so you're aware of it at the moment, is apt update, which is going to update all of those applications for you. Now, if you look at the help for apt, you're going to see there's a bunch of different tools here. So list, search, show, install, reinstall, remove, auto remove, update. And you'll see that this becomes the tool that we use to find and install and manage software. So we'll install, update, remove everything just from this one tool. So let me show you how this works. Let's say I want to install the OpenSSH server. And if you remember when we did our install, we had that option. We chose not to because we were going to do it a little bit later on. Well, this is later. Clear screen to move that up. So we do apt search OpenSSH. Now this is going to pull a bunch of stuff for us, and you're going to see here all of my packages are in green. The package name is in green, but you're going to see it pulled more than we could actually fit on one screen, and you'll also see that none of these things look like what we want. So let's do this. Let's pipe that to more, and that's going to paginate the output for us. Now notice when we do that, by the way, our coloring goes away, but you can see down here we can it says more, so we can just space through until we find what we want. And what this does, the apt search looks for anything related to OpenSSH. So right here, libgch crypto public OpenSSH dev, you can see it's the OpenSSH key codec. By the way, also notice the first part of this, let me look at this one because it's a little shorter. libfk03-dev, that's the actual package name. -focal. Okay, what that's referring to is the version of Ubuntu that it's for. And version 20.04, I believe, was like Focal Foss or something like that. Anyway, it's identifying your current version, and then your current version of Ubuntu, the one this is for, and then beyond that 2.6.10-8, that is for that identifies the version of the software package. Okay, so I'm going to keep going until I find Here we go. Here's OpenSSH-server. Now, I'll clue you in on one thing here. Sometimes finding the applications can be a little bit difficult. So trying to find exactly the right one is a little bit of a challenge. Now there's another tool we can use here. I think OpenSSH-server is what we want. So what I'm going to do is apt info OpenSSH-server. And that's going to give me some other information on it. Let me pipe that one through more as well real quick so we can look at it here. And this is going to give us the description. And this will tell us, hey, this is actually what we were looking for. And you'll see all of this other information, the package, the version, the priority. This is an optional package. It's not required for the OS to run. It's maintained by Ubuntu developers. This is what it provides as an SSH server. These are recommended packages. So we've got three things here. This one right here lists all of our dependencies. Now, this is one of the great things with apt and RPM and the others is that when you go to install this, it will automatically install all the required dependencies. Now, we do have recommends and suggests. These are packages that you could add on. Recommended, obviously, things that will add additional benefit to you. Suggests are things that could be useful, but it's not necessarily required. Recommended isn't necessarily required either. And then these are things that it actively conflicts with, packages that it conflicts with, and packages that it replaces. All right, right here it lists the home page. Now, that's the website where this is documented. One of the tricks with installing software is that sometimes it's hard to find exactly what you're looking for. So if you can't find it using apt search, one of the things that I will do is I will go out and I will just Google and try to find the homepage of the software that I want. Or if I don't know exactly which software I want, I can look for, best whatever applications for Ubuntu. And then I'll find the homepage of the software. That'll tell me about it. And that'll also give you step-by-step instructions, typically for installing it, including exactly which packages and which commands you need to use. Okay, so now that I've found what I want, either by searching or by using apt search, apt info, or Google searching, now I want to install the software. So this is going to be apt install OpenSSH-server. -server. Okay, this will go through. Now, if you haven't updated your cache, by the way, that's why we always start with apt update when we start working on package management. If we haven't updated, then this will probably generate a problem because odds are it has been updated. So the software has been updated, and so our cache is no longer valid. So the following additional packages will be installed. It lists all of the packages. Here are some suggested packages that will not be installed unless we manually do so. And then this package will be upgraded. So we're going to have total, when we're done, we're going to have one upgraded, 5 newly installed, none of them that need to be removed. This is going to use additional 6 megs of space. Okay. By the way, if you want to do all the suggested software, you can add an option. I believe it's -install -suggests that will include all of the suggested software as well. I'm not doing that at the moment because I'm trying to keep it a fairly clean, minimal install. So I'm going to hit yes, and this is going to go install the software. Nice little progress indicator indicating what we're doing here. Another nice thing with package management, not only does it put in all of the dependencies, so you don't have to manually do that. We haven't had to do that for a while due to package management software, thankfully. But in addition to doing all of that, it'll also normally set whatever settings need to be made, activate any services that need to be activated, things like that. So it's very convenient. All right, so now at this point, I have OpenSSH server up and running. So let me do another one here. I am going to do an apt search for nmap. I'm going to pipe that through more. And then I'm going to try to find my nmap tool. And right here we can see it, just nmap, easily enough. Okay, so I'm going to do Control C. I'm going to do apt install nmap. Yes, and now our software installs for us. Okay, there we go. Now I can actually run this, and I'm not actually going to run the software. I'm just going to trigger it here real quick by typing the name of the command, and I know that the command is valid. Now, if I want to know where that software is located, I can issue the command which nmap, and that will tell me which nmap is going to be running. It tells me the location of it. It's in the user bin nmap folder. All right, if I want to remove software, I can do that using the apt remove. But I want to show you something here real quick. Let's do apt-h. And we've got two remove options here, remove and auto remove. So remove is going to remove specific packages. Auto remove is going to automatically remove all unused packages. So our package management system tracks dependencies. We just saw that. So if I remove SSH, let's do apt remove open SSH-server. And this will remove the software for us. So the following packages were automatically installed and are no longer required. It lists them here. And it tells us we can use sudo apt auto remove to remove them. It's not going to remove the dependencies for me. It's only going to remove the open SSH. So the package I specifically told it to. So you'll see after this, we have 0 upgraded, 0 newly installed, 1 to remove. I'm going to hit yes and go ahead and remove that. And we'll wait for that to finish removing. Okay, so now I have dependencies left out there that I don't need anymore. Let's do the command real quick. Let's do another apt update just for the fun of it. And notice right here, it still tells us what can be upgraded. It doesn't necessarily tell us what can be auto removed though, which is a little bit of a challenge. But if I run the command apt, got ahead of myself, auto remove, that's going to look for any packages that are currently not being used. So you're going to see those 3 listed here. Are you sure, or do you want to remove these? So 0 upgraded, 0 newly installed, 3 removed, 48 not upgraded. Do I want to do this? Yes. And that's going to take out all of our dependencies, which means we don't have software packages lying around that we don't need. And that's just going to make our system a little bit cleaner. Okay, so we've gone through searching for software, installing software, removing software, pretty much most of the things that we will do when we're managing software packages, except for updating. And we're going to tackle updating specifically when we look at performing security updates a little bit later on.